but it is about time now, so we'll go ahead and kick it off. My name is Lowell. I've been with Streak for about 3 years now. Zach is going to be moderating and kind of helping man the chat and the questions tab if any questions pop up. On that note, on the right side of your screen, you'll see a little chat bubble on the bottom right. Feel free to drop any like general comments in there. If you have any questions, we'll try and use the question AI. I think we've got a lot of good stuff for you all today, both in terms of a bunch of features that we've already launched over the past year, 18 months inside of Streak that are powered by AI, but also kind of a highlight looking into what's to come over the next 3 to 6 to 12 months. Cool. So here is a brief agenda, or maybe not so brief. There's a lot to cover. The basic format is we're going to run through 4 or 5 features here. At first, I'm just going to give you an overview of what they do and what they're kind of intended to do. And then we're going to do a live demo inside of Streak of all of them. Then we're going to wrap up with a bit of coming soon. So we have some features that the engineering team is actively working on. And so we want to let you know that those are coming. And then finally wrap up with kind of some resources where you can learn more about what you hear today, if some answers to some common compliance questions, and also a Q&A. All right. So why are we talking about this? I think kind of I could boil it down to a sentence. Streak's AI features are designed to help you get better data into the CRM so you can get faster answers out. And as I was writing that sentence, I was reminded of the Daft Punk song there on the left. And so while I was writing that, I asked AI to create the image on the right of Streak AI, harder, better, faster, stronger. We could pump in some theme music or something if we wanted to, but we won't do that yet. Cool. So I also wanted to highlight which plans. So I saw in the chat, some people are as new as 1 month. Some people have been with Streak for 7+ years. So we have a few different plans on Streak. The Pro Plus and Enterprise plans get unlimited AI usage of all the features that we're going to demo today. There are no caps. There's no limits. You can use them as much as you like. The Professional plan gets unlimited usage of the AI formula that we're going to talk about. And you get kind of like a demo, a little teaser of the AI box view features, which is the summary, the ask a question, and the autofill. So each of those, each user on your team gets three uses of those. And of course, if you want to, if you're on the Professional plan right now and you'd like to get, more time to try out some of these AI features, just reach out to us, either support@streak.com or drop something in the chat. We'd be happy to follow up with you over email, and we can get you a trial of the Pro Plus plan so that you can, try these out in depth. Cool. All right. So without further ado, we're going to dive into our first feature here, which is the AI formula writer. I think this one is decently self-explanatory, but as you can see here, whenever you insert a formula column in one of your Streak pipelines, so this is a Streak pipeline that's taking up the whole screen. Each of these rows are different records, or what we call boxes, and you can insert a formula that will apply to the entire column here. And if you don't know if you don't know how to write the formula off the top of your head, which sometimes these formulas can get fairly complex, it's easier to just describe in natural language what you want the formula to do. And our AI will take your natural language and convert that into Streak specific formula language. So in this example, you can see we have a deal size here in kind of the middle left of your screen. And we just want to calculate commission based off of that deal size. So we can just write in natural language, deal size multiplied by 2%. And you can see that the formula is then generated. We save the code and it will apply to all of the rows, all of the records there in that pipeline. And you can imagine these formulas can get more and more complex. Maybe it's 2% for, only for deals under $1,000, and for any deal over $1,000, it's only 1%. So you could describe that in natural language, and the AI would be able to accommodate that. All right, the next one is part of our 3 features that we talk about in our AI box view. So when we get to the demo, you'll be able to see this a little bit more clearly. But when you're in a record inside Streak, when you're in a box, there are 3 AI features kind of at the top there. Those are a summary, ask a question, and autofill. So these are really useful when you're either looking for a high-level overview of a deal or of a record inside of Streak, or you're looking to ask a specific question, or maybe you just got in an email from a lead for the first time and you want to update your CRM with those details. Kind of all going back to that first slide that we talked about. We think of AI as a tool to either get better, more accurate, quicker data into the CRM, or extract better, faster data out of the CRM. So in this case, we're just trying to get better data out. We're asking, hey, can you give me a summary of where this deal is out? Maybe the deal has been, in the pipeline for over a year. You can't remember, how it all happened. You're a manager and you just want a quick overview. This is what that does. You just click AI summarize and you get to see a quick summary of the deal there. Also with this, if the AI thinks that there are relevant tasks that could be suggested based on the deal, it'll automatically generate those and you could add those to your box as well. So here, maybe we need to follow up on Ava's feedback in a few days. The AI thinks we could add that to our upcoming task list. Cool, we doing all right so far, Zach?
Yeah, one person mentioned that the screen is a bit small. It looks good on my end, but if you have any ability to make it larger, might be worth giving it a shot, but I don't think anyone else is having that issue.
Okay. Yeah, we've run into this a couple times before. I think this is about as large as we can get it, so apologies if it's smaller. We will be sending out a recording of this afterwards, so if you need to zoom in on anything, then you can certainly do that on the recording.
Yeah, the screen also becomes larger if you close or minimize the chat or the questions tab. So if you have that open, I would recommend just closing that out unless you have a question or a comment you want to type.
Perfect.
Cool. I think that's it though. You can carry on.
Cool. Thanks, Zach.
Yeah.
All right. So the second of those 3 features inside the box view is autofill. And kind of as the name suggests, this autofills fields, columns based on what it finds in your box. Generally, that's in an email, but it could also be in a call log or a meeting note or something like that. And so here you can see we got an email from Ethan, and it talks about they're hoping to place a $4,000 order, and they need to lock it in by February. Let's see if we can set up a chat. The AI kind of scans this and says, okay, of the columns, I know we have deal size here. It looks like they're referencing a specific type of bean, the espresso bean, and their specific business name, which is Brewhaven Cafe. So it scans all of that and automatically adds it to your pipeline. Cool. And then the final of these 3 features, this is kind of my favorite and what I've found myself using the most, is the ask a box a question. So you, in this kind of search bar, again, in natural language, you can ask any question of the deal of the box, and the AI will scan all of the box contents. So that's all the emails, the call logs, tasks, meeting notes, all of the specific columns that might be in the box, scans all of that, and then tries to provide a succinct kind of response to you based on that. So here you can see in this example, they're asking a common question that a sales rep or an account manager might ask. What do they need to move forward with the proposal? Kind of what's blocking this deal from moving on? And the AI not only can kind of give a response based on what it sees in the box, but they're really good reasoning machines. And so it can reason with you and say, hey, I think the next step is to send a formal quote with clear volume tiers. Maybe they were looking for discounts, and that will help move them forward. It can be used with kind of like higher level reasoning tasks like that, but can also just be used to recall details that were buried in an email somewhere, but you can't remember where they were. So, we have a lot of travel agencies that use Streak, and they want to know, hey, when is Zach supposed to arrive at the hotel today? And it'll tell them Zach's flight was scheduled to land at such and such time, and it's a 1-hour drive to the hotel or whatever. It can quickly recall tasks like that. We've also seen a lot of folks using this to kind of generate emails for them. So you could see what do they need to move forward with the proposal. You could see the next question being, can you generate a follow-up email for me? And you could just copy and paste that into your Gmail compose window and follow up directly like that. Cool. All right, I'm going to try and breeze through a few of these. We also have AI-enabled meeting notes. So this it can generate a meeting note agenda for you based off of what it's seen in the Box timeline. So if you're getting ready to prep for a meeting, maybe you were pushing it up to the last 5 minutes like I was preparing this presentation today, it'll help you generate that meeting agenda so you don't have to pull it straight from memory. Cool. And then I think this is the last one we'll cover before we jump into the demo. We have an AI response action step. So if you're familiar with this UI, or if this is looks familiar to you, this is our integrations and automations UI. So we have a really powerful set of integrations and automations that you can use in Streak to either integrate with other tools or automate some of your processes. And we've decently recently in the last 6 months added this action step, which can take inputs such as the box contents or maybe an incoming email, and then perform some reasoning or some calculation or some inference based on that data. So we'll cover an example, but a few things that we see folks doing are maybe assessing the sentiment of an email. So if you're using this for a support pipeline or even a lead generation pipeline, you could assess the sentiment of an incoming email and move it to a certain stage based on what the AI thinks of that sentiment. So maybe it's super urgent, they're not able to access the product, it's an outage, that would move into an urgent stage, something like that. Yeah, another thing you can do is assess like the validity of certain things in the box. So maybe, is this phone number real? Is the example we'll cover in a moment. Is this domain that the user provided real or spam? Things like that. And I'll just say, we'll show in a second here, this is kind of a precursor to a feature that we hope to be launching, or we will be launching fairly soon, called AI research. So right now, this AI is not connected to search on the internet, but the AI research step will be. So you can imagine that whenever you create a new lead in a system, you might want to perform some research on that lead, go out and figure out, who is this person that filled out my form and is interested in my product or service? What is their domain? How long have they been in business? What region are they? The AI research step will be able to do all of that for you. Cool. We'll cover that a bit more, but first I wanted to get into a live demo. All right, so in this demo, kind of in those previous examples, we were talking about maybe a traditional sales process for a coffee shop is what a lot of those were mentioning. We're going to try and switch and give you a little bit different use case here. So this is a hiring pipeline. So you can imagine that I am a recruiter and my pipeline is filled with candidates that have either just applied or we're interviewing, or maybe we've even hired and passed on. So the first one I want to show you, the first AI, oh, it's already here. I'll delete it. Cool. So is the AI formula writer. So each of these roles, so IT, office manager, SDR, have a different minimum salary. And what I want to do is insert a formula column, and I'm just going to call this commission. And I'm a recruiter, so I get a set commission based off of the salary of these employees when they're hired. And so this is my pipeline. I want to understand what my commission is going to be. Rather than having to understand how Streak, what coding language Streak uses to write formulas, I can just say commission is 2% of minimum starting salary. I do that in natural language, and right away it generates the actual formula that I want, which is 2% of this other column. So I just click save code. It calculates. I can change the format here to be a currency if I like. And again, for the sake of time, we're not going to do more complex stuff, but maybe I could say, if it's over $100,000, then it would be 1%, and the formula can adjust to do things like that. Cool. All right. Oh, sorry, I think the screen share is messing up a little bit. Oh, 1 second.
I lost your picture, but I can still hear you.
Okay, cool. Not sure what's going on there. Can you still hear me, Zach?
Yep, I can still hear you.
Weird. I think we might be, it's a bit stormy here and there might be a bit of an internet outage. 1 second, I might go away for a second. I'm gonna try and close this tab. All right, you there, Zach? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I got you back.
Sorry about that, everyone. Let me pull the streak back up and my presentation.
You gotta love those mountain storms. It's been
Yeah,
like 90 degrees here in Bozeman, and then yesterday clouds rolled in, got super windy, and had a bit of a downpour for 30 minutes to an hour.
I can see it like coming right outside my window here, and I was like, "Oh, please just hold off for the presentation." But nope, it's coming in.
All right, I got the
All right,
pipeline back up.
perfect. Thanks. Cool. So that is the commission column there. So the next thing we're going to demo is the AI box view features here. So like I said, there's three. There's summarize, ask a question, and autofill. Maybe we'll start with autofill because again, where the goal here is to get good data into the pipeline. And so that's what autofill does. And then we'll work on getting good, succinct answers out. So it's as simple as just clicking autofill right here. And what the AI is doing is scanning these emails. If there was other box content here, again, like call logs, comments from your teammates, things like that, it would also be scanning those. And we can see here that it pulled in a couple kind of key features or key data points. So start date is one. I think that's buried in this email somewhere, but you can also see phone number. So the candidate here, Zach, in this case, replied to me and said, if it's helpful, here's my phone number. So I can just do update and it automatically pulls in the phone number into the phone number field. I could also do start date. So maybe he said, hey, I'm actually not able to start until 9/1 because of one reason or another. I can do that and it automatically pulls in the start date there. Rather than you or the sales rep, whoever it may be, having to comb through those emails and do it automatically, kind of a great thing to do is just first thing whenever you create a new lead or whenever a new lead gets passed to you, doing that autofill and seeing what you can update in your CRM without you really having to lift a finger. And you'll notice maybe one of those wasn't relevant to me. So you can pick and choose, or if they were all relevant, I could update all. Cool. All right, next let's look at ask a question. So I'm interviewing Zach. I know he mentioned something about how many years of experience he had, but I don't want to comb through all these 4 emails to try and figure that out. So I'm just going to say, and the nice thing is I have a typo there. Let's see if the AI can still interpret what my typo is. Great, it did that. It was super quick. How many years of experience does Zach have? Looks like 5, hands-on, fast-paced tech environment. And you'll notice we have the citations. These are new as of maybe a couple of weeks ago. So you're like, yeah, it was 5 years of experience, but there was some other context he gave. And rather than having to type out another question, you can just click on this citation and it pulls up the specific email. It's like with over 5 years of experience, maybe there was some other little tidbit you remembered in this email that you wanted to check specifically. So you can go straight to that by clicking the citation. So that's ask a question. And then the last one is summarize. Pretty easy here. It's going to quickly summarize what's going on with this entire deal. So we're not going to read the whole thing, but it talks about how he applied, what position he's interested, some of his experience. And then also, like we showed in the presentation, has some of these suggested tasks here. So it's like Zach has been hired, it can tell because it can read the pipeline. So maybe the next step is we should schedule an onboarding session with them. So if I did that, you can see it automatically adds this task to my box and says schedule the onboarding session for Zach. And it gives a reasonable due date for 2 months because it knows that his start date isn't until September. So really kind of some smart inferences here by the AI. All right. Oh, meeting notes is the last one we're going to show in this box. So here you have some actions in Streak, one of them being meeting notes. So I can click meeting note. It knows I'm about to jump into a meeting. So I can do / here, and then I can either generate an agenda, a meeting agenda based off of past calls, or I could use a custom description, something like, we need to close Zach this week, generate. Now let's just see what it does with that. So it knows we need to, confirm his offer, talk about the onboarding process, contract negotiation, things like that. You may not want to talk about exactly this in your meeting, but I think with a lot of AI tools, they're great because they can kind of provide inspiration for you in your specific process. So maybe you're like, yeah, I know we got to confirm the offer. We got to talk about the onboarding and be like, oh, right, I forgot about the contract part. Maybe that would be useful. So you can just insert that. And then of course you can modify it. Like maybe, number 2 isn't relevant, but 3 and 4 are. It's like that. Cool. All right, the last one, or I'll kind of pause here. Any questions I could show in this view, Zach?
No questions so far.
Okay, great. Cool, then the last one we're gonna show is the AI completion step, or AI response step, rather. So this is, like we mentioned, you access it inside of integrations and automations, which to get to those, you click this triple dot menu here in the top right, do integrations and automations. I actually, before this call, created an example one that we're going to walk through, which is AI action step here. So in this scenario, we get a new applicant. They go into the resume stage, and maybe someone does a initial review, make sure it's not spam, something like that, and moves them into the first interview stage. So with my automation here, whenever they're moved into the first interview stage, I want to take in and ingest the phone number and infer whether it's a real phone number. Then if it is, I want to set myself a task to call the person. Not everyone gives a phone number in the resume. Maybe they gave it an email and there's a typo. Maybe they just like quickly filled it out on the form fill we have on our website, didn't actually enter a real phone number. So I only want to give myself a reminder to call them if it is a real phone number. So this automation, like we saw, is triggered whenever I move something into the first interview stage. So I'll move those 2 boxes into the first interview stage, and I'll go into Lowell and see that, great, the upcoming task was created. It was set to be a day from whenever the box moved into the stage, and this is a real phone number, and so it generated that I should call them at the real phone number. If it's not a real phone number, Maddie's here. I'm not sure if you can tell, but it is like 11 digits or 12 digits. It's too many digits for a real phone number. The AI was able to infer that it's not a real phone number. So I just said, say no. I could also have said like, don't create the task at all, I guess. But just for the sake of showing it, I said no. So it's not a real phone number. There's a lot you can do with this AI action step. And so anything that you kind of reason with in your pipeline, or you could use, kind of a helping hand to reason with or provide some insight on, I think this step is great. I think it'll also be even better once we add the AI research step, which is again coming shortly. Stay attentive to your email or reach out to us if you haven't seen anything across your desk in a month or so about where that is. We'll be happy to provide you an update, but that one will allow you to search the web. So maybe when someone applies, I could go and research Maddie and see if she has done anything, like research and see what public research papers she's published, if this was like a research position or something like that.
Okay, well, one question for you from someone in the chat. If you go back into a box that contains email threads, do you know if we're able to create a AI meeting note or call log based off of information from a recent email thread within the box?
Yeah, it should be able to reference that. Let's see. So let's go into one of these emails. So this person's interested in the office manager role at Streak. They want to know how we'll measure success. So let's try that. So I'll use a custom description. That might not be a great prompt. I guess I'm kind of cheating a little bit since I said measure success, but yeah, here you can see it says discuss the key success metrics outlined in Maddie's last email. So it's reading that email and understanding. That's what we're referencing. So yeah, any of these what we call AI box features or features, AI features that you're seeing here have full capability to reference anything, whether that's comments, meeting notes, emails, anything that's in the box. Cool. Any other questions, Zach?
Someone's asking, what if you're not using meeting notes? Can you create an agenda for a call from past emails? And I think the answer to that would just be using the ask a question option to say, scan the emails within the box. Can you create an agenda based off of the email threads found or something along those lines?
Yeah, and this this little toggle here says based on past calls and meetings, but really it's going to be reading anything in the box. Kind of just didn't have room to write all that. So it's going to be generating this agenda based on whatever. I mean, you'll notice we don't have any call logs or meeting notes. Like I guess we have these that I just created 2 minutes ago, but it's talking about anything that it finds in the box. So it will reference those emails.
Yeah, yeah. So if for the user asking this, so you can either use the meeting note to generate that agenda, or you could potentially use the ask a question option to scan the contents of the box. You're primarily referring to those email threads, and then it can spit out an agenda for you, which you can then copy and paste that text, and then either add it to the Google Meet invite or send it to the lead or the client over email ahead of time. Hopefully
Oh
that
yeah, I
answers
see.
your
If you
question.
wanted to email it, yeah, it's good. Good tip.
Cool. I think that's all of the questions that we have so far.
Great. Okay, we're gonna run. I know that we're out of time, so no worries if anyone has to jump. We are sending out this recording afterwards, but just gonna cover a few things that are coming soon. So AI research. Let me maybe make this bigger. Yeah, let's see. AI research action step. I think I've talked about that a little bit already. It's going to be able to research the web for anything that you need. AI pipeline generator is a cool one. So this is, in part relative or only relevant for new users, but also relevant for anyone who might be starting a new process inside of Streak. Rather than having to, pick your columns, pick your stages, customize everything that way, you can simply describe, again, in natural language, what process you're trying to run. In our AI, that will reference aggregated data from, all the teams that we have at Streak, but also reference your own website and things like that. You could say, hey, I'm Lowell, I'm a recruiter. I generally hire engineers. I need to create a hiring process for them. And it will go and spin up that pipeline for you so that you don't have to manually create it. And then the last one, this one's kind of vague for the time being. You've probably heard the term AI agents floating around. We're definitely going to do something and probably a lot of things with that inside of Streak. You could imagine an AI agent is someone who's able to basically be like a sidekick and help you move along any process that you're running inside of Streak. So it could always be watching, always be kind of listening and moving your boxes along. So whether those are deals or candidates or things like that, it can be helping you draft emails. It can be helping you generate meetings. It could be saying, hey, this person needs a nudge. They haven't heard from you in a while. Things like that. Again, that's fairly vague right now, but we definitely want to hear from you on what you want to see. So either at support@streak.com or talk to your talk to anyone you've been talking to at Streak. We'd love to hear what would be helpful in your own processes to have AI do. Cool. And then just really quick, there's a couple of few docs linked here. Shriek.com/AI is the best place. These other documents are all linked from that web page, but you can get an overview of like an FAQ and security questions. You can see more on the roadmap for what's next. And then finally, we have some other classes. So if you were interested in the automation stuff that I was talking about, maybe this class on the 24th of July is great. If you were one of the folks that put in the chat that you're brand new to Streak in the last month, Streak 101 might be a great place to start to get a more holistic overview of what Streak is. Cool. Any other questions, Zach, that we didn't have a chance to get to?
I think we covered everything.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone. Sorry about those internet troubles midway through. Appreciate you hanging with us. And again, a recording will be sent out of this class within an hour or so. Cool. Thanks so much, everyone. Appreciate it. Thanks, Zach.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.